Hello and welcome, this is my review of Tik Tok by eCash. This track has a summery vibe to it. It's got a bit of tropical instrumentation, I guess inspired by a bit of like tropical house, but it's pop at its core really. Personally, for me, it's not the pinnacle of creativity, but let's get into it. First, I'm going to continue talking sort of about the instrumentation, starting with the drums. The drum beat that they've used here with the snares are, again, quite tropical sounding, quite summery sounding. Racing to the money, no pit stops. Coming from the bottom to the tip top. We go and have fun and get lit. But this is the only sort of thing that the drums give here. There's not much variation in drum beats. It mainly returns to this one loop. It's quite good. There is a few variations on the snare. It is the only sort of proper drum loop that's in the track, and it gets a little bit overused, a little bit stale, and I think that stale is the word that is going to come up a lot during this review. To make up a little bit for the drums being a little bit weak and samey, then you have these great steel drums as well. Easily it's the highlight of the sort of instrumentation and arrangement. Again, because they're going for that summery tropical vibe, this is the instrument you want to be using. Hit the nail on the head here. Also, again, being a drum, they're very percussive, which is good since the loop, as I said earlier, gets a little bit stale. It's a little bit samey. So these steel drums really liven things up a little bit. There's some nice synths sort of sitting in the back. They're adding sort of mainly to the core of the chord structure. I think they fit the bill here. There's some good filter abuse going on to really get those to wob, and they sit nicely with the steel drums as well. They sort of add to each other. So good job on the production there. Racing to the money, no pit stops. Coming from the bottom to the tip top. We go and have fun and as I said, everything here achieves this summery vibe, but to me there's something missing from the arrangement. Feels a little bit empty. It's very similar all the way through, just with loops dropping in and out depending on what part of the song we're at. So it gets a little bit samey as we go through the track. Another thing that I didn't quite understand is it has this very minory sounding chord progression for such a summery tune. I know, you know, it's supposed to be a little bit sexy as well and a little bit seductive, but this chord progression here really doesn't quite, for me, fit the aesthetic of the song, and since it's the only chord progression used throughout the track, again, just gets a little bit samey. Dance for a tic-toc, tic-toc, tic-toc. I just made her do a dance for a tic-toc. I will say though that they have this sort of droning re-space in there. I think this really glues the track together well. It gives it all that low end that it severely needs, and when it's introduced for the first time, it really has good impact, and it really, again, fits the instrumentation of the track. Again, I guess that bass is sort of inspired by deep house or tropical house, but obviously there's a lot of elements of pop in here, so I'd maybe like to hear something else coming through to fill that low end up. I feel like the production on the vocals is a little bit much. It's quite common now to have a lot of production on here, but there's a lot of flange and almost like an emo rap style of vocal production. It's quite a modern way to do it, but I think for a track like this, again, you have this really good tropical instrumentation, and the vocal production, as I said, is more like emo rap. It's more minory and moody. So again, I think there's a little bit of a clash there. I feel like the delivery of the vocals as well, again, this is on top of the production, can get a little bit drony. In the chorus, it feels a little bit drony to me, and the delivery sort of stays very similar, and again, gets a little bit stale. Go TikTok, watch her TikTok. Yeah, she go TikTok, watch her TikTok. What I do like about the sort of vocals and the production on that is it has a good call and response on the main vocal to the backing vocal. This is done really clean and adds a lot of flavour around just the standard vocal lines. But she understands,
She told me she's my #1 fan. She know all my words, she love what she heard. Stay home and make love while everyone purge. All of your details you make.
So that moves on to the lyrics. Not the biggest fan here, but I understand that it's not supposed to be some sort of deep poetry. So it gets the job done. It gets the job done, I guess. I feel like they're quite cheesy, but they're not supposed to be. As I said earlier, it's supposed to have a bit of a moody and seductive feel to it. But I think it misses the mark just a little bit. Maybe because TikTok isn't the most seductive app, I guess. So I think something that really saves the track is, as I said, I've complimented the production a lot, and the mix is also pretty good here. All the frequencies are distinguishable. You have no muddiness going on between the bass and the kick, and everything's clear through the vocals, which are heavily on top, but you don't lose any of the detail of the beats underneath. Just to touch on the video, I like the contrast between you have shots in the black background and you have the shots with the deep reds, and that contrasts well with the shots on the beach, so that it changes it up quite a bit. The song's supposed to be a bit of fun, and I think this comes through in the video well. Nothing wrong with it. Again, maybe a little cheesy with the water guns, but each to their own. Overall, this track really not quite my style. There's some redeeming qualities. It is quite good thematically, but it's a little bit stale. Could do with some alternative chord progressions and melodies coming through just to really get it to stay interesting for the length of the track.